What's up guys, I'm Phoenix Master 1 and welcome to my breakdown of the new Valentine Banner. Myrrh and Ephraim were easily recognizable on the silhouette. So here we have got a colorless armored dragon Myrrh, and she also brings an upgraded warp bubble into the game. So it's really good for the role compression because she can function as a far savior and also as a warp denying unit. So she has got Loving Breath, which is a weapon giving her minus in special cooldown, and it also has distant counter built in. So this is really good. You don't really have to run distant counter Dragon Sacred Seal, and then she can get plus X to her attack in the combat and inflicts minus X on the foe's attack in the combat. And the X is going to be dependent on the number of allies in 3 spaces of her multiplied by 4 and then added by 6. And this can go all the way up to 14, so you can get a lot of attack and inflict the attack debuff on the enemy, which is going to be ultimately really helpful as a tank. And then she can get the special cooldown charge +1 on both her attacks and the enemy's attacks. So this is really good for triggering Armored Beacon and retaliating back with it, and she can also heal up 7 HP after the combat. She does have the Dragon Wall built in, so this is going to be good for the damage reduction, but against most of the top tier nukes, this kind of damage reduction is going to be pierceable. So at least she's got Armored Beacon, which is going to be some source of unpierceable damage reduction, and she can retaliate back with the special. She also comes with Defense Res Scal 4. The Legendary Myrrh did introduce Defense Res Unity, and here she's got the Defense Res variant of the Scal skill. So this is really good against the pre-charged specials, and Scal is one of these effects which Dragon units have access to compared to a lot of the other tanks. And you know, if there are other tanks like Duo Violet, then you have Super Scal. And she also has Canny Fighter, which is basically a magical weaving fighter. So previously the armored dragons were not able to get it, and now they have to run this skill. I kinda don't really like the fact that they have to make a different skill just for that -4 resistance. That could be done on like Weaving Fighter itself, and that would actually help you if you have the Hexblade status. She also has Darkling Dragon as her preferred skill, so this is gonna be giving her and her support ally or any kind of ally with highest defense in 2 spaces of her the +6 defense and resistance buff, and also the warp bubble status. So if you don't really have any kind of ally support, you could try and defense match so that multiple units can get warp bubble. And the thing with this kind of effect is that in Aether Raids offense, if you're going to be having your defense team, then this is not going to be active until your enemy phase starts. So you're not going to be able to deny the warping on the player phase of turn 1. So that is something you'll have to keep in mind, but still, this is really good. And like I said, the role compression is amazing because you can have the warp blocking and at the same time have a really good far savior in Myrrh, who can also get the guard effect in the combat with the Darkling Dragon, and she also gets 50% damage reduction piercing on the foe. So it is really helpful because nowadays the nukes have a lot of damage reduction, so being able to cut through their damage reduction is good. And then she can get +4 defense, resistance, and attack when her savior triggers. It's basically attack, defense, resistance, far savior. So she does have really high base attack at base 47 with amazing HP at base 50, which also has a super boon, and then base 48 defense and base 45 resistance. She's really min-maxed, and she's also a trainee dragon, so she has got 206 BST, which means that with the super boon she can actually reach 210 BST, which is insane. I mean, she does have the distant counter built in her weapon, so distant counter dragon is going to be redundant just for the scoring in arena, but that's something you'll have to do. So Myrrh is really good, and she's going to be functioning as a fantastic far savior and a warp blocking unit. And the fact that you can have another ally with the warp bubble is actually pretty amazing, because even if Myrrh goes down, in that turn you're still going to be having another warp blocking unit. Now Gatekeeper is actually pretty amazing for the warp blocking, but it doesn't really add too much to your team composition. So in Summoner Duels, role compression is an extremely important thing because you can only run 5 units on your team, and oftentimes you have many units competing for that slot on your team, and there Myrrh is going to be able to slot in really well. And then we have got Valentine Ephraim. He was also on the silhouette, and he's a lance armor this time around as well. So he's going to be having a weapon giving him -1 special cooldown, and we can see him in the action here with his dual phase brave effect. So he has got Righteous Lance as the preferred weapon, and it does have -1 special cooldown. And for the allies in 3 spaces, he does give them the support of +4 attack and defense in the combat, and they can heal up 7 HP after the combat. So it does act as a save unit who can also support your allies and can help them heal up. So if you're going to be running him with a Far Savior like Winter Pilot or Myrrh, then they're going to be able to get more healing, which is really good. And then if foe initiates combat or foe's HP is at or above 75% at sort of combat, then he can inflict -X attack and defense debuff on the foe, and this X is going to be dependent on the number of allies in 3 spaces, multiplied by 4 and then added by 6. So this can also go up to max 14 just like Myrrh, and this is going to be helping him hit really hard. And then he also has the 30% damage reduction, which is on all hits, not just on the first hit. So he's kind of like Ninja Celsius in that aspect with that damage reduction, but it is completely pierceable. And then he can heal up 7 HP after the combat. And finally, when he triggers his specials, he's going to be able to completely neutralize any kind of damage reduction skill of the enemies. So he can function as a really top tier near save unit because of having a lot of bulk, having 48 base attack and also 48 base defense, which is really good. And then he also has Armored Blaze, so another unit if you don't really want to fodder off Winter Edelgard. And he does have Earth Fire Boost 3, so pretty much the attack and defense variant of Fire Flood. And then he has got Sunlit Bangle D, so this is going to be checking for the HP, and it does have the forced foe's first attack just like Summer Ephraim. So this way he's able to pretty much charge up Armored Blaze a lot easily and trigger it on his Brave attack. So this is going to be giving you -5 attack and defense debuff on the foe, and he also has dual phase Brave effect, so this is going to be enabling him to hit really hard with that Armored Blaze. And he does have Null Guard, so he's not going to be initiating combat that much as a 1 movement armor compared to Summer Ephraim, but still he does have that effect in the weapon. And he can also heal up 7 HP per attack in the combat, so he has got both in combat healing and also out of combat healing. And the fact that he can pierce the damage reduction of the enemies is really strong. So he's going to be triggering his dual phase Brave effect here, and yeah, he's going to be able to trigger Armored Blaze on his Brave attack pretty much all of the times. So even though he's like a save unit, still he can function in the player phase, which cannot be said for a lot of the save armors. But I guess if you want to make him unique, then you can replace the near save skill with Assault Troop, but that's pretty much it. And then we have got the 4-star focus unit of this banner in Valentine Selena. So I really didn't expect her. I thought maybe it would be Laura Shell. So she's a Red Mage Cavalier, and she does have her stats there. 45 base attack and also 46 base speed. And she does have Devoted Basket Plus as the inheritable weapon. So this is an inheritable weapon with pre-combat damage, which already makes it better than Arcane Eclipse. So at start of combat, if the unit's HP is at or above 25%, then you can get pre-combat damage equal to X% of foe's attack. So this is going to be 30% of your attack if you have the weapon struggle advantage, or if you've got more speed than the foe. If not, then it is going to be 15% of your attack. And that's a lot of pre-combat damage, so this is pretty much an inheritable version of Legend Camilla's weapon. A bit watered down, but still, it does give you quite a lot of pre-combat damage, which can be stacked up with Flared Sparrow and Occultist Strike on many of these Red Mage Cavaliers. We don't really have the fast version of the Arcane Red Tome, but until then, this is going to be really solid. I thought Nabata Tormod's weapon was already pretty good, but this is also another really good inheritable option. It also gives you +5 attack and speed in the combat, and then you can also get even more attack and speed in the combat depending on 15% of your visible speed stat. So this is going to be an excellent weapon for stacking up the speed, stacking up the pre-combat damage, and I really feel like the counter to pre-combat damage is coming up soon because it's being given out like candy now. We have this inheritable weapon, we have another inheritable weapon for Vigarde, and he's a free-to-play unit, so yeah, that's something that you can expect, I suppose, in upcoming months. She does have Rally Up Attack Plus, which is good for the arena scoring, for having a high scoring assist, and then she has got Attack Speed Catch 3 and AR Fart Race 3 at 5-star, so decent fodder, nothing really too insane. And then we have got the star of this banner in Duo Lyon. So he's there with Erica, and this time he's a Green Mage Cavalier. So just like Legend Camilla, he also has the pre-combat damage in his Tender Vessel. So it does enable Canto 1 and gives you -1 special cooldown, so Iceberg becomes a 2 cooldown special. And then he has got pre-combat damage. It is going to be 40% of your attack if you have the weapon strangle advantage or more resistance than the foe. and it is going to be 20% if you don't really have it. So still a lot of pre-combat damage, which is going to be helping Lyon just kill units easily. He is not really a fast unit. He has got base 47 attack, but base 16 speed. So he's going to be stacking up his bulk. And because the weapon can take resistance into the account, he does have base 46 resistance with a super boon. And then he's able to get attack, defense, and resistance in combat. So it is going to be 5 plus 20% of his visible resistance. So he's going to be able to get plus 14 attack, defense, and resistance. And then he can also cut through the damage reduction of the enemy by 50%. So damage reduction piercing is actually pretty good for a cavalry unit because unlike the infantry mages, they can only run magical follow-up or the tempo 4 skills. So having the damage reduction piercing is going to be nice with the pre-combat damage because not a lot of it is going to be able to stop you. And then he has got the preferred slot skill in Grey Illusion. So it is going to be giving him plus 9 attack, defense, and resistance. And if he's got more resistance than the foe, then the foe cannot make a follow-up attack. So there's basically resistance sweep, not exactly water sweep because water sweep is speed based. So this is resistance sweep unless we get some kind of name for it. Maybe ice sweep, not sure. That's close to water. And then in the player phase, after combat, he's able to inflict the end action status on the highest speed foe in 3 spaces of the target foe, excluding target of course. So this is going to be ending their action after their at start of turn skills trigger. And in some duels, it is going to be immediately ending your action. So this is pretty much feature focus of Aether, but something that you can inflict after the combat. And you're going to be able to cleanse this with Safi or even or odd recovery. But still, I think because of the fact that he can inflict the status on the enemy, he's going to be an amazing Aether Raids defense unit. And also, more importantly, a Summoner Duels unit, because in Summoner Duels, he's going to be able to be really threatening with his duo button, which we're going to be taking a look at in a minute. But even without his duo button, he's still going to be a really solid cavalier with the pre-combat damage, the damage reduction piercing, and ending the action of the enemy, not letting them have any kind of fun. So yeah, the kind of skills that we've gotten nowadays would just end the turn and end the action of the enemy is a bit annoying. And if you face Duo Aether, then you already know how it is. And he does have Occultist Strike and also Insight attack resistance, which is pretty good for getting more stats. So here we can see Lyon in the action. His sprite is actually amazing along with Erica right here. He was kind of expected on this banner, so he gets a duo version with Ephraim being the backpack, and now he's the front and center unit, and we can see that status on this Axe Flyer. So their action is going to be getting ended, so you have to watch out for Lyon. And it is going to be targeting only the highest speed foes after the combat. So his duo skill is pretty much the status which you can inflict out of his preferred slot skill, but on all of the foes in the cardinal direction. So this is where you use him a lot in Summoner Duels because it is not going to be always possible in Aether Raids because you're going to be facing teams with duos, hindrance, structure. But in Summoner Duels, this is going to be just line up the opponents and then end their action, which is, you know, insane for Summoner Duels. He is going to be easily the Summoner Duels unit, which a lot of people are going to be pulling for. So you cannot really have your units in a line basically in Summoner Duels. So you always have to respect Lyon's duo button because he can just end all of your actions. And that is going to be a loss right there because the enemy can just use all of their other actions and you're not going to be able to do it unless you have a dancer, and even then you can only refresh one ally. So Duo Lyon's duo skill is really insane, and he's a really strong unit. We don't really have any counter for the pre-combat damage. We also have Vigarde with Axe of Devotion Plus, and this is pretty much the same weapon as Selena's, but instead of being focused on attack and speed, it is of course focusing on attack and defense. So it's a pre-combat damage axe, which is still really good, and his stat spread is not really as min-maxed as Ephraim or Myrrh or even Lyon for that matter. He does have a bit more speed than you'll need, but he does have good HP and good attack, and he also provides you with even follow-up 3 at 5 star. And the new Sacred Seals that we have, it is going to be Attack Speed Ideal 3, which is definitely a long-awaited Sacred Seal, and then Dragon's Wrath 3. So keep in mind that this is not the tier 4 version of Dragon's Wrath. This is less good version of Dragon's Wrath with 20% damage reduction, and giving you 20% true damage. So it's a pretty good skill for many of the dragons, honestly, for stacking up those things. And that is basically going to be the banner. We're going to be getting a Hero Rises banner next month, and we also have Regan's Remix banner this month, and probably an Earth Ledgering unit at the end of this month. So that is something you can look forward to, because this banner is going to be lasting for a while. So I hope you all enjoyed this video. If you did, then make sure to leave a like and a comment, helps tremendously. And if you really enjoyed, you could always support me directly by using super thanks down below or by becoming a YouTube member. And for more FEH videos, make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell, because YouTube sub boxes are about as functional as the action of your highest speed unit against Lyon. So with that said, I'll see you guys next time. Thank you so much for watching and have a great day.